talk about the something very practical. You guys are um, like a seasoned devotees, but so I'm mostly speaking for myself. You know, we all face the challenge with the things getting done. How many of you find that a problem that you plan something and like then it kind of stays with you only. I mean, it doesn't come to the execution part. You have so much desire to do it, but you can do it. Does anybody of you? I see some of you. I know, and you are so kind. So all of you are raising it. But I mean personally find that a big challenge. That we have so many things to be done and so much desire to do them, but then we are not able to do it. So I thought, let me put some thoughts on that topic. What do we call that? We call that procrastination, right? Dealing with a major obstacle in our life. Procrastination. Is it connected? Not connected, right? I'm sorry. Yeah. I thought, let's talk about this procrastination, and at the end we get some time. We'll talk about Vrindavan Yatra and of course Sankirtan. You know, so yeah. So I mean, we all know that this verse, right? Manushyana sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhe yatatam upi siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvata. So out of thousands of men, among men, one may endeavor for perfection. And out of those who achieve perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So we are all trying to do that. We are trying to achieve that perfection. You know. So this could be done only in the human form. We can have some inclination to achieve that perfection. And once we have that inclination, let's make it a top priority. Right? Make sense? So this is the from Srila Rupa Goswami. He's saying that Krishna Bhakti Rasabhavita Mati Kriyatam Yadi Kuto Pilabhyate Tatra Lolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukrutir Nalabhyate. What does it mean? Can anybody tell me that? Just try it, whatever, because I mean, see, I came recently from India, so I have a jet lag. So if you guys don't interact, then I might go to sleep. So you have to try something. Try. What does it mean?
Go to next page.
Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. So anybody wants to try that? I mean, only Tatta Lolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam. Prabhuji, come on. Prabhuji knows everything. So, okay. What is the meaning? Pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be had even by pious activity in hundreds and thousands of lives. It can be attained only by paying one price. That is intense greed to obtain it. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. This is something, if we can get it, we should do every single effort. But remember, it is not available by, what was that? Janma Kotir Sukrutir Nalabhyate. Koti means millions of life. Sukruti, you don't get it. Tatra Lolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam. Only intense greed is the price. That is the price. And how do we get it? We get it by the mercy of the devotees. But we should have that intense desire, you know. So actually, this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we'll read a little bit. We'll read the purport also. So this is actually, there are actually two verses. The verse before this is actually both of them are from Padyavali 13 and 14. Verse number 69 refers to devotional service in faith. You know what does that verse mean? I can have that also. That verse. This is the verse. This is the meaning of that verse. You know, we can sing it together also. Nano pachara kruta pujanam artha bandho premaneva bhakti hridayam sukhavarpanam shaya yavat kshuda arti chathare jarata pipasa tavat sukhaya bhavato nan bhaksha pipi. So the meaning is simple, that as long as there is hunger and thirst within the stomach, varieties of food and drink make one feel very happy. Similarly, when the Lord is worshipped with pure love, the various activities performed in the course of that worship awaken transcendental bliss in the heart of the devotee. So what does it mean? The younger generation has to try to say, I'm a children's doctor by profession. So pediatric age group is my, they would be my. You guys have to tell me, what does this mean?
Have appetite.
Yes, you could come in. Come in the pediatric age group, but I would take it, not a problem. But I will like the children to, the younger generation to try it. See, when we worship Krishna with love and devotion, like if you are hungry and thirsty, anything we'd love it, right? Any kind of food is there, it would be acceptable to us because we are hungry and thirsty. Same way, if we serve the Krishna with love and devotion, we would be reciprocated. We'll get the bliss by Krishna, because simply we are doing it with the love. So this is kind of doing the not knowing. If we follow the rules and regulations and try to do the deity worship and worship Krishna by whatever, if just simply following that rules, and as long as we do it the purity, it really gives us the transcendental bliss, and that makes us do it more and more. So this is the devotional service according to the rules and regulations, right? Even though we do not have so much spontaneous love, we do not have so much understanding, because we simply follow the procedure, it makes us very relishable, So that was the first part. But then the second part that we were reading is I can read over here also. I have already here. This one. So, 1 second. Let me connect the internet, then I don't need that one. Yeah, 870. So we can. This was the one. So we read the first verse. Now we read them. Pure devotional service in Krishna conscious cannot be held even by pious activities in hundreds and thousands of lives. It can be attained only by paying one price, that is the intense greed to obtain it. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. Right? Then, yes, so we were reading this one. when we're reading that, I read the first verse, that is the 69 number verse, right? That verse, it says that the devotional service done with the rules and regulation gives us the bliss so that we perform it more. Now, the first is devotional service rendered in accordance with the regulative principles, and the second refers to spontaneous loving service of the Lord without extraneous endeavor. Henceforward, the basic principle underlying this is between the dialogue between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai will be spontaneous loving service to the Lord. The regulative principles according to the injunctions of the Shastras are necessary insofar as one's original dormant Krishna consciousness is not spontaneously awakened. Right? An example of spontaneous action is the flowing of rivers into the ocean. Nothing can stop this flow of water. Similarly, when one's dormant Krishna consciousness is awakened, it spontaneously flows to the lotus feet of Krishna without impediment. Whatever will be spoken henceforth between Raman Rai and based on spontaneous will be agreeable to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the Lord will ask him more and more about this subject. So why did we mention this particular verse? That we really want to develop that intense greed for the service, right? Lowly. So how to develop that intense greed, right? What should we do that? When should we start it? Prahlad Maharaj is saying that we should do this in order to develop this. Start at very young age. Kaumaram acharet pragno dharman bhagvatani durlabham manusham janma tadapi adruvam arthadam. So what is that? One who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood. To practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved. And although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. Right? This is what Prahlad Maharaj is saying, that we should not wait for any other age, like I would do at some other time. We have to develop this at very young age, and he's in this actually in this one verse he's actually giving the entire essence, that this human form of life is so rare and is so temporary. Tadapi adruvam, it's not so long, but still it could be very meaningful, provided we can attain the ultimate goal. If we can connect ourselves with the devotional service, this human form of life could be very meaningful. And it says that even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. There's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita for that one. Which is that verse? Yeah, pratyavayo navidyate prayate mahatuvayate. Slightest service done, that could give us the perfection. I think purport is too long, so we will not go to the purport. So I tried to make some case over here, right? That we, by any means, we have to achieve the devotional service to the Lord. We have to achieve that love. We should start at very young age of the life, right? And then what are the characteristics of that? That somebody has achieved the love for the Sri Krishna. So there is a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Shanti avyartha kalatvam. Actually, that's my focus is that avyartha kalatvam viraktir maha viraktir mana shunyata, and asha bandha samutkantha namagane sada ruchi and asaktis tad gunanukhyane and pritis tad vasati sthale iti adyo nubhavanasya anubhavasya jata bhavanu kurejanam. So what is the meaning of that? When the seed of ecstatic emotion for Krishna fructifies, the following 9 symptoms manifest in one's behavior. Kshantir, that is the forgiveness. Avyartha kalatvam, concern that time should not be wasted. Not a single moment of life should be wasted. Because then moment makes an hour, and hour makes a day, and day makes a week, and weeks makes, and time goes like that only. So when we don't appreciate one moment, we don't appreciate the time in general. Detachment, person who makes some advancement in Krishna consciousness, he naturally becomes detached. Absence of false prestige. Hope, he is always hopeful. Eagerness, samutkantha, and a taste for chanting the holy name of the Lord. Attachment to descriptions of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, and affection for those places where the Lord resides. That is a temple or holy place like Vrindavan. These are all called anubhava, subordinate signs of ecstatic emotion. They are visible in a person in whose heart the seed of love of God has begun to fructify. So we can, if we have this kind of signs, we can understand that we have developed some love for Krishna. We have some desire, like whenever we get an opportunity, we want to chant, we want to read, we want to visit the places of pastimes. But the most important thing for my focus is that we should not be willing to waste our time. Avyartha kalatvam. That's a kind of a very important part, that a devotee would always try to engage himself. He would find out the time in a way that it is useful for the service. Because if we let it go, then kind of sometimes we don't know how much time it passes away. Now we all live in a material world, like we are in a, I would say, we are at the, I'm talking about myself, and I'm seeing people around me also, and like my family and friends and all those things. It's hard to be focused like that. People love the sports and news and so many things, and what to do. Because at least I can claim that the time should not be wasted. Honestly, can I say that I don't waste any time? Like now the social media and the WhatsApp and Facebook and sports and news, and something is happening, and then political news, and so what to do? At least I'm not there. I'm honestly admitting I'm not there. But I have to be conscious that I'm not utilizing my time. Now, how to create an intensity? Understanding a problem is one thing, but what's the solution? I try to go to India most years. That's a kind of I like to, and we should all do that. That visiting the holy places, as it is said that attachment to descriptions of transcendental qualities of the Lord, and affection for those places where the Lord resides. So if we don't have the other thing, but we can try to practice the other thing also. this desire not to waste time in anything else is a very exquisite quality. You would do that. You are like I have friends and like a niece and nephews, and they are watching some sports. They say, Kaka, leave me alone, don't waste my time. My game is going on right now. I'm so intensely attached to it. Please go away. I can talk to you some other time. Why we have to talk now? Like, because it shows that there's so much attachment is there. And we have to unless and until we cultivate that level of attachment, that I'm 100% dedicated to that, is not going to happen. But now, as we discussed already, that we are not, and again I'm talking about myself, that I'm not at the level of the spontaneous loving service to Krishna, thinking about it all the time. We are, and I'm following the devotional service according to the rules and regulation. So I have to plan my time. I'm not a machine that I can turn it on now, everything else turn off and be like this. No, this not is not possible, right? You guys have to go to the school, make a career, talk with the friends, associate with the, like you have to be on, we wish like we could create that environment like Prahlad Maharaj has, but like it's not possible. We live in a completely different world. Outside the home is a complete different world. When you go to a work, you have to associate with the people who do you work, or college or school or business, everything. So what to do? Whatever little time you have to plan it so properly. You can't, like Krishna says that in the Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehina. Like, if you forcefully not see something, it's possible. For how long? If you forcefully put yourself into some discipline, for how long? We actually have to cultivate the rasa varajam rasopashyam. When we already have the interest, everything else becomes very subservient. It becomes secondary. It is said in the kind of scriptures like that, like the interest to enjoy the various sense objects becomes like when we discard the stool and urine in the morning. Nobody becomes so attached to the stool or urine. When you discard it, nobody goes and looks at it unless until you're in the medicine. You want to see that what kind of urine you are having or stool you are having. Most people wouldn't be interested in looking that much level of detachment to the sense enjoyment comes when we become attached to the service to Krishna. Unfortunately, I am not over there, so I have to plan. I can understand that how much time I have, how much time we have. Last year I was at in my kind of native place in India, and I had my class get together. I usually do it every year. That's my way of little kind of get together again. Seeing the friends and then trying to give them some Krishna consciousness, have some kirtan and so I will invite somebody and somebody will make a little lecture and all those. So we met some friends. We met after 20 years and it was a nice time. And then again after 6 days, one day in the morning, we have a WhatsApp group, and I'm hearing one of my friend who is orthopedic surgeon who was attending a conference, and he collapsed on the spot 6 days after our get together. So everybody met after like 15-20 years, and they were thinking, oh come on, what happened? And he was in the middle of the doctors. He collapsed and they did a live kind of live resuscitation, the basic life support, and they all knew, because they were surgeons, they all knew they could give anesthesia and they could do so much more. They could not revive him, and everybody was so disturbed. What to do? This could happen to anybody. He was dancing with us, and I mean, giggling and laughing, and we remembering the college days and all those. And then, but this could happen to anyone. Like, we have to feel the urgency. It's an unfortunate part that I'm still interested in enjoying the senses. I'm still interested in worldly things, but how much I can enjoy, how much I can hold it, you know. And what is next? Then I'm kind of when I went this year, and I was trying to connect with his wife, and like, this could happen to anybody. I mean, like, you're alone now, taking care of children and so on, so on, so on, so on. This also another incident happened. I mean, in the month of August, we were having a program, and I got a call from one of my friend that, he said, please pray for my son. He said, what happened? He said, 20-year-old boy had a massive heart attack. And he said that, we are trying for the last 5 days, but we couldn't do anything. I said, what happened? He said he was actually brain dead. So after every single effort, we had to kind of let him go. Can you imagine a 20-year-old boy, and that could, I mean, it's a kind of who could get a heart attack at 20 years of age? I mean, why did that happen? We don't know. I mean, but there are certain heart conditions it could go in families and run in whatnot. And but he was in the aviation school, so he was one of the top line pilot. He was about to become, or he became, like, he was writing captain, and like the Air Force pilot, and he was doing the IT thing, and he was going to help me with some IT things and all those things we were talking. And so this can happen to anyone. We live in a situation where life is so, we take it for granted, but it's so much temporary. We have to create the urgency. That I need to plan whatever time I'm giving for the devotional service, whatever time I have after the work, after the school, after the family life. I should plan it. If I don't plan it, it won't happen. So I made some points, practical points, because the new year is coming. All of us, we could have I mean, some plans or some desires. Getting things done needs clarity. Write it down, what you want to do it. There is a thing, the what gets written gets done. If you don't write it down, like when we are in colleges, and like I remember the things which is difficult, we write it down, we see it every day. We see it every day. Then you remember, after a while you remember, then you change it and you put another thing. So making a list, making it clear, your priorities. What are my list? What are my priorities? Make it clear. So decide exactly what you want and write it down. Otherwise, so many thoughts comes and go, and we will. So these two things actually is a clarity about what I want to do, what I want to do in my life, what I want to do in my. The first thing is to clarity, and then set up a goal. Be practical, be fair, be precise. Who and when, set up a deadline. List everything that you have to do to achieve your goal, and make a plan from that list. Organize that list and action on the plan immediately. Now don't wait, but at least make something, do something towards your goal every day. So these are, I'm just thinking about that. Then I thought about this, we have a Sadhu Goswami stuff. They were the topmost elevated people. They need not to do this with so much, they will keep meticulously, they will keep the count of whatever they do. We can sing it together. Sankhya Purvak Nam Gananativi Kala Vasani Kruto Nidrahara Vihara Kadi Vijito Chatyanta Dino Chayo Radha Krishna Guna Smrite Madhurima Anandena Sammohito Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. So I offer my respectful obeisance to the six Goswamis, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatan Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, and Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord and bowing down in a casual measurement. Sankhya Purvak. Whatever they do, Nam, Gan, and Ativi, even if they pay the obeisances, they want to read the scriptures, they want to write the scriptures, they want to make the circumambulation, everything by this casual measurement. Now remember, these are the liberated persons. They don't need to do that, but still they are doing it. They are all the associates of Lord Chaitanya, and they are the Manjaris, Radharani's Sakhis. They are the perfected beings. Still, so much planning. Sankhya Purvak Namna. So whatever you do, if you do not have the kind of measurements, you don't know what are you doing. So they utilize their valuable lives in executing these devotional activities. They conquered over eating and sleeping, and were always meek and humble, enchanted by remembering the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So Prabhupada also is saying also that what is the importance of doing something regularly. Drops a day wears down the stone, right? And that applies everything in our life. Prabhupada used to say that also, that if we read one chapter a day, you'll be Pandit. Srila Prabhupada has said that. One chapter a day of Bhagavad Gita. So anything we'll do over a lifetime, 10, 20, 30 years, after a while it becomes astounding. Right? Most important thing, activity, and we make sure to do it as center of the life, it becomes very productive. So what is the most important activity we do? What is the most important activity we do? Chanting. We have to make it. Is it that most important activity in your life? Yes, very nice. So if that's the most important activity, we have to make it as the center of our first day, in the first thing in the day, first hours in the mornings, we should dedicate to that. And if we do it after years after years, day after day, months after month, then it becomes really very productive. So sometimes when we do so many things, it is overwhelming. Where to start some projects and so many things and so many services. But if you do somewhere, something, at least start somewhere. If it is so much overwhelming, then we don't feel like doing anything. Like our room is mess. Like many of you deal with the children, right? The room is mess. At least ask them to take one paper up. Put the one paper away. Make it something. Start somewhere in a life that takes us along. And then we have to think that, okay, what if like you guys are in your 15 years? How old you are? 17. How old you are, Keshav?
17.
Yeah, so you can think of what I will be at 27. What I want to do. Like I'm 53 now. What I want to be at 60 years of age. I want, like, that gives me an urgency. If I want to achieve something, it gives what I would like to be at that age. Plan now. Don't have the day take you over. Don't let the time take you over. You know, in your spiritual life or in your material life, what you really want to be. Because then you can put the effort with focus. Now if somebody tells us, like if we can have an app that tells us the how much time we have, wouldn't it be very helpful? Like the clock will be cooking, boom, boom. Now this much left, but actually we all have that. Maximum we can have 100 years. And and being a doctor, I haven't seen anybody above 90 very functional. Very rarely somebody so fortunate would be functional at 90 years old. So we can set up the clock that 85, how much time is I have left. Because most people in the Kali Yuga lifestyle, diet and stress and whatnot, 85 is too much for the us to be functional. You have to be really very super class in a mode of goodness life. Then you would be alive at 85 and functional. Otherwise the stress and diet and so many things, and I feel so bad, but we have so many unhealthy habits. Even when we come to the devotional life, it's hard to break those habits. How many of you do the regular exercise? I don't know. And how many of you know that you have to do the regular exercise? Tell me. Who doesn't know that? We know it. So we really have to make a plan. We have to think sincerely. For every day, plan every day, night before. Right? What I want to do tomorrow. Just don't. It says that never greet the dawn without a map. Right? What I am doing tomorrow as a student. Also, what I am gonna read tomorrow, what I am gonna prepare tomorrow, what I am gonna, what are my classes tomorrow. I should be ready with that and whatnot. And of course, plan with your sadhana. That okay, I have to be early up early in the morning, and I want to read this particular thing, and I want to do this. It has to be planned. Don't the something came and somebody came and you go in a chorus. That's called chorus. You flow with the no. You can't do that. You can't do that. So plan before the day. You should have a master list in your life. But you should have master what I want to achieve. Master list, and then a monthly list, a weekly list, and a daily list. Because see, if I am all the time thinking about Krishna, I don't need all those things. Even though the perfected beings like those Goswamis, they live a very scheduled life. But I do not have that spontaneous inclination to do that. Then I have to plan. I have to plan for my time, for the social time, the family time, and the sports time. So I have very little time left for the devotional service. Why don't I plan it? If I don't plan it, I let it go. Today I chanted some rounds, and tomorrow I didn't chant anything because I didn't plan. We have to plan that. So there are some rules. 10, 90, 80, 20 rules. I have already given the answer. So first 10% of the time put in planning and organizing work before we begin. We save 90% of the time in getting the job done. Put plan so much properly what you want to do, get everything done. Then 80% perspiration and 20% inspiration. Yes, but then other thing is 20% of activity give 80% of results, and reverse is also true. So you have to do the activities in such a way that becomes productive. But I focus on the first thing so much: planning and organizing. Right? So don't major in minor things. What does it mean? don't major in minor things. Yeah, you do so many minor things all day long. What is the use of it? What is all day long? Do what is most important. do it first thing in the day, and resist the temptation of clearing small things first. Hit the rhino, get the toughest task first, don't avoid it. If there is something challenge is given, get the challenge. you know Long term thinking improves short term decisions. Anything you do with the do with the long term thinking. It's not so I mean, most of us, we like to read, and we read, right? How many of you read every day? Okay, how many of you read with the plan? Plan means, say, if I'm living next 5 years, how many of you have read Bhagavatam completely? How many? And how many times you have read? Like, I have seen one devotees, I see, of course, Mulya Adik Prabhu has read it. But I every time I see some new book, I like to buy it, but then my family tells me that, tell me, how many of the books you read already you purchased it? And my, like, when I say family means, you guys understand who that person would be, right? Say, okay, what is this? You buying the book, and I think at least I have to read this Srimad. Lord Chaitanya, how many times he read the Dhruv Akhyan and Akhyan of Srila, Prahlad Maharaj? Any guess, anybody? You want to make any guess?
1 century.
Yes, hundreds of time. He is the Supreme Lord. But he is in the he's in the garb of his own devotee. He's teaching us that these pastimes are meant to read for us. Bhagavatam is the source of everything. If we read it, I will read it. I will just read the purport of Srila Prabhupada in one of the verses. But so we have to make a plan. And at least I want to read Bhagavatam, not one time. Because how many of us we are really Sanskrit scholar? How many of us we can really digest that? We have to read so many times. We have to, like, some of us, like, we all do, materially speaking, like, I'm a doctor, some of you are software engineers, some of you are engineers, and so on and so on. And you know your field so much, right? Like, when you go to school, if you have a test, if you have a quiz, you're ready. Anything you ask, left, right, up, down, center, we should know the Bhagavatam like that. How would we know that? We have to try to make, in our whatever little time we have, I want to make a schedule that I want to finish it. Like in a year, at least just read one chapter a day. Don't go to the purport. Read the just translation. It takes about 10-15 minutes. But now you can finish Bhagavatam in 1 year. Along with that, you can read the one other way, like that. I'm going to read with the purport and detail and everything. But at least now then it makes a connection, because Bhagavatam has so many, at least 6 different dialogues are going on. You see that Brahmaji to Narad, and Narad to Vyas, and Vyas this to Sukdev, and Sutta Goswami to Saunak, and then Parikshit and Sukdev and Maitreya and Vidur, and so many different dialogues, so many things are going on. If we read it again and again, then we really understand. So I think make a timetable for that. That is, within 1 year I want to finish it. And Bhagavatam, Chaitanya, and so many. This is just our basic book, because there's the books of Goswamis and all our Srila Prabhupada's disciple Gopi Paranam Prabhu has written very nice Brihad Bhagavatam, 3 volumes, and then Chaitanya Bhagavat, and then all this different. So we have so much to read. You guys are very young. If you and that applies to all of us also, because who knows, we can live up to 100 years also. We have another 40-50 years. So we could know all these things so much by heart. We can do that. So motivation requires motives. So repeating good habits over a period of time, it creates so much impact. Now, what is this forced efficiency? What is forced efficiency? You have test tomorrow, and you're gonna read now 12 hours a day. Like we nothing, everything stays. I know. Because I have some people, they would not do anything, but then The last 2 days they will sit over there, they glue themselves there over there. The exam is there. People, whenever you go there, he's sitting there only. Eating, sleeping, everything is happening in the over there. So we say that's called forced efficiency. We have to, like in our devotional life, we have to make Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that every day we have to like take some time and think about it. What did I do? Where am I? And usually Ekadashi to Ekadashi, we have to make a plan, make a goal. Every Ekadashi to Ekadashi we can make a goal, tangible goal, and see that where did I fail or why I'm not achieving that. Many of us when we go for traveling, right before the departure, that day we do the maximum work. Now we have to go there. Do you have that experience? Like you're going to India and 2 days back you are doing million things. Coming back from India, now all of a sudden your efficiency goes so high. All of a sudden you wake up at 4 in the morning, there's a flight in the 8 o'clock in the, so but you run around and do so many things. So we have to create that forced efficiency in us. Now I will kind of end with this is the Srila Prabhupada's purport in the 1344. If I can, let's see if I think it's still working, we can. Yeah, this is the purport. This is actually the chapter, Canto 1, chapter 3 and last verse. So Sutta Goswami is saying that, O learned Brahmins, when Sukadeva Goswami recited Bhagavatam there in the presence of Emperor Parikshit, I heard him with rapt attention. And thus by his mercy, I learned the Bhagavatam from that great and powerful sage. Now I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I learned it from him and as I have realized it. So this kind of stuck to me so much. Shukadeva Goswami presented Bhagavatam as he heard it from his great father. And so also Sutta Goswami is presenting Bhagavatam as he had heard it from Shukadeva Goswami. Simple hearing is not all. One must realize the text with proper attention. The word nivishta means that Sutta Goswami drank the juice of Bhagavatam through his ears. That is the real process of receiving Bhagavatam. One should hear with rapt attention from the real person. And then he can at once realize the presence of Lord Krishna in every page. The secret of knowing Bhagavatam is mentioned here. No one can give rapt attention who is not pure in mind. No one can be pure in mind who is not pure in action. No one can be pure in action who is not pure in eating, sleeping, fearing and matting. But somehow or other, if someone hears with rapt attention from the right person, at the very beginning, one can assuredly see Lord Krishna in person in the pages of Bhagavatam. So we have to be pure in our action. That would create the purity in mind. And with the purity in mind, we could have the rapt attention. So I would like to open it for a few minutes for the discussions or comments or questions, so I can speak some pastimes of Sankirtan. But if anybody has any, yes, Mullivadak Prabhu has always, he's the, thank you Prabhu.
Well, I may have a problem chanting my rounds tomorrow because I have to make all these lists and make all these plans. I'm only teasing. Sasri Maharaj shared with me one thing about, because there's so many books to read, as you said, and my godbrothers are making so many books. So he said in his own practice, he'll always first read a little bit of Prabhupada's books to keep that focus. My question now. So I actually appreciate very much your presentation and how we can practically organize ourselves. But the problem is I don't have the taste yet. I can organize myself. I can go through these things each day. But what can I do to get a taste so that I become inspired to do these things?
So I mean, as I said, I mean, like, this is the struggle of someone who doesn't have a taste. You know that, I mean, if we have a taste, naturally all the time we'll be doing the hearing and chanting. But Krishna has assured us that if we do this process sincerely, you know, like when we have that verse in the Bhagavatam, and you can help me with that. When we take the morsel of food, at the same time we get the nutrition, and we are relieved of the hunger and thirst. You know, so same way, when we take up the devotional service sincerely, our interest in the material things gets diminished and our affinity for the Lord increases. Which verse is that, Prabhuji? That's in Bhagavatam, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Tushti Pushti.
Tushti Pushti, I mean, like that comes. So we this is the whole, I mean, point of the presentation was that yes, I understand theoretically that I don't have that spontaneous love. How to get that? We have to follow the process sincerely. We have to avoid the offenses to the devotees. You know, follow this process as it is given, as the prescription is given. Lord situated in our heart, you know, Tesham Satate Yuktanam Bhajatam Pridipurvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mam Prayanti. When we do it sincerely, like Krishna situated in our heart, he actually gives us the intelligence to approach him, to understand him. You know how how does it make it? He makes it so much more relishable. This process, sometimes people think that, oh, how could you guys do this chanting for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours? You guys don't have anything. When I go to India, my friends ask me, do you still practice? So then I say, of course. But then I said, don't ask me what practice I do. And then they start. So when we do it sincerely, even at the beginning level, without any having that spontaneous love, Krishna situated in our heart, he actually reciprocates that, and that's how we kind of come to that stage of the affinity. Prabhuji, you have to answer your own questions. So I tried my best, but that's the.
Your answer is very nice. If I may, I would add one thing.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yes, serving the devotees.
Right. That, it says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Bhakti Jana Mula Haya Sarasanga, Krishna Prema Tana Mula Puna Muja Anda. Even when you're on the platform of pure love, you need to take that association. And then Shushu Shushu Vasudeva Katar Ruchi. Where do we get that ruchi? Syan Mahatsevya. So in all the lists that we make sure we write down to try and render some service to the devotees. Of course, you don't let me serve you, so well, that's a hope for me. But,
so, I mean, you're already here. You know, you're doing them. You're here to make sure that, you know, if I do some mistakes, you are here to cover me. So thank you. See that, I mean, Prabhuji made a very nice point. You know, in our parampara, we know the Srila Narad Muni. In his past birth, he was the servant of a maid servant. You know, we don't have anybody actually here from that level. I mean, you know, I'm kind of materially speaking, being the servant of a maid servant. You know, you really don't have any good fortune to go and play with the other boys or, you know, go all those things. So, but that became actually the biggest fortune for him, because mother was serving the devotees, and Narad Muni also would go with the mother and do the service, and then he had the opportunity to have the remnants of the foods from those Mahabhagavatas, those pure devotees. And just by having that service and having that prasadam, he is the Shakti-Avesh avatar in the next birth. You know, he actually had the Lord, he saw him once face to face in that birth. But then the Lord said that I know I'm gonna this is your this is the only time you will see me in this life, so that your attraction for me increases so much more, desire to see me grows so much more, and that's how he became in next birth. Narad Muni is the third incarnation, right? Third Shakti-Avesh avatar. And he can travel anywhere, and he can enter anywhere. Like in the palace of Lord Shri Krishna, nobody stops him. He can go any moment, anywhere. He can see the pastimes of Lord Jagannath, and so but to start with, the beginning was so humble. He was the son of a maid servant who happened to serve the devotees. So very nice point. Serving the devotees is the gateway. Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone else want to make any other comment? Any other? Yes, Mataji.
Probably how can we maintain enthusiasm for chanting when the health condition is not good? So, can you have some practical tips?
Yeah, I think that's a very relevant question, very good question. I mean, we all would have that problem one or some of them. At least either we could have it, or we could know somebody whom we know has a health problem, and sometimes we have a kind of a major kind of a debilitating condition. So I mean, those things. See, the chanting, we have to make it a very personal. We chant. Anytime we chant, we have to create the very intense mood, and this is actually one of the very good reasons. Oh my dear Lord, I'm not this body. That gives me the realization first, or my dear Lord, please help me. How could I'm not able to do my service because I don't have this. I mean, devotees don't ask to the Lord for anything, But if we will not ask the Lord, who else will ask? We don't have to be shy in asking Him that. We have to make a connection. He is there to, listen our prayer. So why not to pray from our heart? Having this, that serious health situation, immediately that rings to our mind that how much time I have now. How much time I could think that how much time I really have now. So like King Kulashekar is praying that please take me now, because I don't want to be in a situation where I won't be able to remember your name, and so that I think that's, I would take it as in a positive way. If I don't have a feeling for the holy name, there's some trouble is there. It creates an urgency. It's now I have to do something. Tomorrow is the exam. I can't really go see a movie right now. I have to let the sports go and everything go. I have to sit down and read the book. As simple as it is. Now my health is failing. My dear Lord, please give me some test. I'm so unfortunate. I still don't have any intelligence to chant your name with the affection and love. So I would, and if I'm praying for someone else's health, also that's also kind of I would take this all as a reason to pray it more intensely. Right? And if it's not happening, fine. Ultimately, I'm going back to home. What's the big deal? Actually, there's the kind of it's a most glorious day. That now I'm aware about it, and I would be living. So I think we can correlate in our chanting wherever we are, but I would take this particular thing. Because Lord says there is no hard and fast rule. If I can sit, I can lay down. I don't have to take the bath. It doesn't have to be in the morning. Whenever I wake up, It doesn't. I can't stay. There is no need to stay. Hungry. There's no need for. There's no hard and fast rule. So and still I am not able to chant. Then the condition must be so serious. If there is so much. But in any case, I would never take a pain medication. Like if there's a terminal illness, I would like to be conscious until the end. What's the big? But so in general, I think that's a very sound ground for us to pray so intently. That's what actually we, lay, and that in our practice, and sometimes that side becomes mechanical, right? But like if you don't have any health issues, we could be in chanting in gratitude. That's kind of a gratitude also. In spiritual life, if we are not making progress, that means we are going down. Every day, if we are not making a progress, we are going down, because we lose another day, and nothing was achieved. So either in gratitude, either in kind of asking for the help, or planning for service, begging for some service, this would all create a very intense mood in your chanting. Like you planning to do some service and you don't have the means to do it, or you don't have any opportunity to do it. You have a desire to do it. You have to pray it from your heart. And thank you. Nice question.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
It was a great answer. I would just tack on to that if you get better, don't give up the intensity of chanting.
I know. So I think that's very nice. Krishna can always come back. So we have to. But that's your right. We have to. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. This is Mayapur Chandra Prabhu ki.